When the word Stoicism comes to your mind, you probably think of this. But that's actually very different from what Stoicism really is. It's not about being cold, emotionless, or dead inside. Stoicism is actually part of a philosophical study. So to understand Stoicism better, let's first understand what is philosophy. Basically, philosophy is a form of study where we learn how to think clearly about life, truth, and how to live. It is about trying to answer questions like what is life, what is truth, how to live, what is a good life, how should I act when things go wrong, what can I actually know for sure. Does meaning come from me, society, or out of nowhere? Back then, they couldn't really rely on self-help books, science, and psychology to help answer those questions. Those either didn't exist yet or haven't been developed yet. So instead, they had to sit down with those questions and really think about them. Because life is huge, philosophers have to split those questions into different categories. Think of philosophy like a tree, and here are some of those branches. Metaphysics. These branches focus on reality and existence. Philosophers in this branch ask, what is reality? What exists? Is everything physical? Do we have free will? Epistemology. This branch focuses on knowledge. Philosophers in this branch ask, how do we know things? What is knowledge? Can we trust our senses? What counts as truth? Ethics. This branch focuses on behavior. Philosophers in this branch ask, how should we live? What is good or bad? What makes a life worth living? And logic. This branch focuses on reasoning. Philosophers in this branch ask, how do we think correctly? How arguments work, how reasonings can go wrong. There are more, but these four are the common ones. So then you may be asking, in which branch does Stoicism fit? Good question. Stoicism mostly lives inside ethics, because philosophers in this branch, also known as ethics, ask, how should a human live? And Stoicism is one of the answers to that question. How is that so? Good question. By the way, I have a community for readers where we discuss lessons from reading books and also learn from each other's perspective. If you are interested, the link is down below. What is Stoicism? As mentioned earlier, Stoicism tries to answer one question: how should a human live? To answer this, Stoicism starts by asking a simple but very important question: what kind of organism are we? The Stoics then believe two things about human beings that are very different from other species. First, we are highly social. We live with others, depend on others, and affect others. Second, we are capable of reason. We can think, reflect, and choose how we respond to what happens to us. And this second part is important, because the world just doesn't give you what you want. It is unpredictable and sometimes things can go wrong. People in this world act unfairly and the outcomes of events are out of our control. So the Stoics ask, if we can't control what happens to us, what then can we control? And their answer was this: we are able to use reason to help us distinguish between what is up to us and what is not. Our actions, values, effort, and judgments are up to us, whereas other people, outcomes, luck, and the past are not up to us. When we focus our energy on what is truly up to us and accept what isn't calmly, we don't waste the energy which could be spent elsewhere. We stop fighting reality and start living in alignment with it. That's how they can live life with purpose, virtue, and fulfillment. And if everybody lives this way, not only one individual will get the benefit of it, the whole entire society will get the benefits as well. And that, according to Stoicism, is a life worth living. What is in Stoicism? Just like in science, where there are different disciplines like physics, chemistry, and biology, Stoicism have three disciplines as well: desire, action, and assent. I will explain each of them. Desire in this case doesn't mean wanting fast food or video games. To the Stoics, desire is about values, things that are important and good to us. In this discipline, the Stoics focus on critically re-examining our values, deciding what actually deserves our desire, and making choices about what those values are and why. The next discipline is action. This discipline is about how we act, especially towards other people. Here, the Stoics focus on how to behave as a social being and practicing those actions with our values. And the last discipline is assent. Assent is about how we think. It is about examining our thoughts and judgments, catching faulty reasoning, and not immediately believing every impression that enter our mind. This discipline helps desire and action work together. Without it, we act on impulse or false beliefs. So these are three disciplines in Stoicism. Furthermore, in science, there are topics that are taught in each discipline. Like in physics, there are electromagnetism, Newton's laws, density, etc. In biology, there are cell biology, genetics, evolution, and ecology. Or in chemistry, there are reactions, metal, and organic chemistry. It is also the same for each discipline in Stoicism. For the discipline of desire, there is the topic of physics, where you learn science in general and how the world works. In order to figure out what goals and desire we want, we need to understand what kind of being we are. Next, for the discipline of action, there is the topic of ethics, where you learn how to live life, help understand what actions are right or wrong, and the motivations, goals, or priorities for carrying out those actions. These topics are linked to action because both are closely related, talking about how to live as a social life. And for the last discipline, there's the topic of logic, where you learn what is good thinking, understand cognitive bias, and why people's thinking can go wrong. Ascent uses logic to think about how to live a good life. So these are mostly all the things that you can expect when you are studying Stoicism. Where to start? If you want to actually study Stoicism, a good place to start is Discourses by Epictetus. It is a collection of lectures by Epictetus that is written down by one of his students. I recommend this translation by Robin Hood because it is easier to read. But don't expect to read and understand this book right away like a storybook. It is jam-packed with lessons, it is challenging, and it is meant to be studied slowly. While reading this, you can also read this, which is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It is basically a philosophical journal of someone trying to live out the Stoic principles in their own life. And it's not actually just a random guy, it is an emperor of the Roman Empire, which is quite cool to be honest. So yeah, this is Stoicism. Anyways, that's my opinion. Bye.